What's up guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm gonna quickly talk about some strategies and tips on a tournament or challenge in the mid-game of Idle Planet Miner. The tips in this video is only applicable to those who are transitioning from early game to mid-game, which means your tournament results are approaching quadrillion or quintillion. If you are still in the early game, you probably won't be able to use any of the tips, because everything in the early stage of the game takes forever. And if you are in the late game, you also won't need this, because you can probably speedrun everything. Okay, now why do we need a mid-game strategy? In the early game of Idle Planet Miner, you might have a general idea of how this game works after a few galaxies. You just try as hard as you can to push as many planets and research projects depending on your room setup and the managers. You might think the game progression stays the same all the way towards the end game, but that is not the case. So in the early game, your raw materials you mine from any planet make a large portion of your galaxy value, which means as long as you keep upgrading your planets, you will easily have enough cash to unlock the next planet and enough materials to craft anything for the projects. However, when you reach somewhere around 1 quadrillion and planet 37, you will find out that it takes forever to upgrade your planet once, and it's nearly impossible to gather enough money to unlock the next planet. In this case, in the mid-game, you need to shift your game focus when you want to do an efficient run, or when you are in a tournament/challenge. There are several things you need to focus in the mid-game. The first one is the project debris scanner. So for the asteroid, they provide raw materials or sometimes bars, but debris brings items, which is extremely valuable because the last few items in the game require tons of components to craft. With debris, you can save a large amount of time if you can luckily get the components for the last few items. In this case, the first goal of mid-game tournament is to speedrun the debris scanner. You need to get to planet number 40 and Quadium for this project. Or if you decide to do an Alchemy on some earlier planets, that can also help you unlock it easier, but I'm gonna talk about Alchemy later in this video. Once you have your debris scanner unlocked, the next thing you wanna target is Subspace Relay, or I believe people in the community just call it SSR. This is a super powerful item. Now, if you check all of the early game items, their sell value means basically nothing. And when you finish crafting any item in the early game, you don't see an increase in your galaxy value. But SSR only costs a few quadrillion cash to unlock, and the value is a few quintillion. Which means if you have one SSR, your galaxy value jumps straight from the magnitude of 10 quadrillion to around 10 quintillion, depending on your resource star and item value. I'm gonna show you a short clip of me finishing my first SSR earlier in my current galaxy on the right. You see here my challenge reward jumps from 10 quadrillion to 1 quintillion, because my SSR doesn't quite have a value of 10 quintillion, but it takes 2 of them to reach 10. There is another item after SSR called the Advanced Robot, or AR. This is currently the last item in the game, but it takes even more time to craft, and if you have trouble crafting an SSR, you will not be able to craft an AR in 1 or 2 days. Just craft more SSR to boost your galaxy value to around 100 quintillion for the challenge, reward, or tournament ranking. And that brings me to my next point, the boosts. I strongly recommend you hold on to all your boosts in the early game, because they don't make any difference really. And I would recommend you use in the mid-game tournament when you have the ability to craft an SSR, because it still requires a large amount of time from debris scanner to SSR if you just progressed up to here. And similarly for my next point, you need to level up your craft speed and craft price in the mother room, as well as the managers. Do it in the early game. Without any crafting speed and price reduction, it is also impossible to make an SSR in time. Okay, about Alchemy. In the early game, you probably just use them to make several planets to produce your best unlocked ores, but as I mentioned earlier, when you are around planet 37, it takes a huge amount of time to unlock the next planet, and every planet onwards is only getting worse. So if you think you cannot reach planet 40 in time, or it takes the entire duration of your tournament or challenge, just use the first alchemy level on a planet that produces inertin, so you can have quadium to unlock the debris scanner. And after that, depending on your progression speed, you can use your other 2 levels of alchemy in some planets later. Or if you can reach quadium in like half a day, you can just save all your alchemy levels on later planets. In addition, I want to talk about the joining time of a tournament or a challenge, because depending on where you are, the tournament opens at different times of the day. I believe it follows UTC or something. For me, a tournament opens at 6 PM Friday when I'm in Central Canada, and it opens at 8 AM Saturday when I'm in China. So what I recommend you do is you always start a new galaxy in the morning or join a tournament in the morning of Saturday. After a tournament opens, you have another 24 hours to join anyways. Since all the hard works are at the beginning, for me, if I join a tournament or challenge in the afternoon, I can only get to around planet 34 before I go to sleep, and that is awkward because I cannot unlock the debris scanner. Without the scanner, I lose countless items overnight, and if I start a new galaxy in the morning, by the evening I pretty much finish all the things I can do, and with the overnight crafting and hopefully some SSR components from the debris, I can boost my galaxy value by making plenty of SSR the next day. With the help of boosts, currently I'm able to craft my first SSR at the end of first day, which guarantees me a minimum value on the magnitude of quintillion for my challenge or tournament. This is not possible if I start a new galaxy in the afternoon. And last but not least, don't upgrade your early planets when you unlock better ones. The raw minerals they produce are totally insignificant. What I do is I only upgrade planets with managers. I set my managers at my best planets and just completely ignore all earlier planets unless they cost nothing in comparison to my current cash. Also, after around planet 35, if you have trouble unlocking the next planet, save your cash to unlock it and don't use it to upgrade your current planets. That's all for today's video. It's 100% from my own experience because I was suffering a lot when I first reached mid-game planets. Hopefully now you have a clear goal in your mid-game gameplay. Thanks for watching and see you next time.